Welcome to Good Morning DRC TV, where we bring you information about what is happening around the nations of Africa. We are very much interested in what's happening in our countries, and therefore I like to give this information to those of you who are living outside of the continent, those of you who have amazing children and family who can only understand the information in English. We are currently in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where we are sending this information around the world. And I know that this is a French-speaking country, but I do believe that there are so many of you who have children and family who can only access this information in English. So therefore, if you like the content of this channel, please do subscribe, share this information with other people, get to subscribe and give us your comments. I just want to talk about the Democratic Republic of Congo today. As you probably know, that the United Nations, there was an address of the many different presidents in New York last week. Obviously, there are so many things that have been said, and there have been so much interaction and exchange between different political leaders and presidents and prime ministers and so on and so forth. But what we have come to understand is that I can tell that there is a voice, if you like, rising from the different leaders of African countries who are basically raising their voice and their opinion to say that the current framework of the United Nations and what is happening around the world is not fair to African leaders in African countries. And so what we have noted is that this is the 78th, if you like, annual summits of leaders where they have to, talk about what plans and what has transpired in the last year and what are the future issues that they're going to address and so on and so forth. So it is, if you like, an opportunity for every leader to come and talk about the development and also the problems that they're encountering and also the future that they envisage for their country. And this is for the sake of democracy. Democracy is that, okay, yeah, let's bring all this, but we know where it's all leading up to. But this day, I want to talk about President Felix Tshisekedi, who has obviously had his time to speak and address some of the issues at the UN. And if I can just basically summarize his thoughts his thoughts basically about the what is happening in the DRC. Of course, the president took time to talk about what he perceived to be, if you like, a problem that is plaguing so many different countries in Africa. So he has talked about the case of Zimbabwe, he's talked about Mozambique, and he's obviously just raising awareness of the situation as it is at the moment in these two countries. It's not so good. And talked about Sudan as well. So what he tried to do was trying to raise awareness to bring the leaders of other nations really to begin to address some of these issues, that they shouldn't overlook these countries because they are, if you like, in another continent, because that is not the right way to approach this situation. And then obviously he talked about the climate change. And we all know that there is a big push, there is an agenda that is basically talking about our global planet warming up. And we understand that there is a move towards green energy. And for that green energy to really take effect, the DRC is one of the countries that is basically called upon to, if you like, preserve the forests that we have, that is basically helping to cool, if you like, to cool down the temperature. And but one of the points that he made is obviously that, we have to think about what we can actually do in order to help out those countries that will be giving up on using these, if you like, cutting down trees and using the everyday, if you like, a material such as using charcoal, which many, if you like, families in the Congo depend upon. And what that means is basically chopping down trees, and they're chopping trees down by the millions. And so if this carries on the way it is, it's obviously damaging to the environment. But in order to offset that, what he's basically asking for is that, all these rich countries that have, if you like, destroyed our planet so far, these are the countries that are supposed to be thinking about what they can do in order to compensate, so that the countries in Africa don't just pay the heavy price, because the world polluters are the ones, if you like, that have benefited, from all this industrialization. But right now, the people that have benefited the least, those who haven't even benefited at all, are being called upon, if you like, to preserve the planet. Yes, the DRC is very much keen on doing that. Is very much keen, if you like, on doing what it can in order to help to cool down the temperature. But it has to do that, or it will only do that if a lot of the rich nations fulfill their pledge. Because they talked about $100 million that they were going to, if you like, give to African nation in order for them not to chop down the trees and be able to preserve nature in order to help with this situation. But that hasn't been done. It was only promises and things were said, but it wasn't followed up. Up until this point, nothing has been done in that respect. So yes, just bring it to their remembrance that, this is something that they need to work on. And the other issues, obviously, he was talking about is the conflict that is in the eastern part of the Congo, which is a major, major problem. This has been going on for many, many years. Talking about over 25 years right now that, people have been losing their lives in the eastern part of the Congo. So we're talking over 10 million people that have lost their lives since in the last 25 years. But this is not spoken up. They're not talking about this in the media. The mass media don't really care. They don't really care about what's happening in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And what we do know is that all the rebels and all these, if you like, militia groups that are carrying out all these atrocities in the eastern part of the Congo are being somewhat supported by the rebel group of M25, which is, according to reports of the United Nations, is being supported by Rwanda and Uganda. So when you put together all of this, what the president seems to be asking is that, look, we have given them enough time. We have called ceasefire, and we've asked them to retreat from where they are standing and to pack and then go away from the Democratic Republic of Congo. But this has not taken effect. Now, what we do know, based on what information that is circulating around, is that yes, the Rwanda army has been supported by the French government and the US. All right, and yes, even though at this present time the U.S. has taken a stance that they're not going to support them anymore, but yet what the president is asking for is that they will be a new way of looking at the situation over there. They have to place sanctions on Rwanda so that they know that obviously what we're doing, they know what they're doing there is bad, but they must stop it and retreat. And so the president is still going around lobbying and then asking so that sanctions be levied on them. And once that's done, it will obviously, if you like, push them to the point where they have to retreat. But yes, it is a problem still in the eastern part of the Congo. So this is why he's still alerting and bringing people to the attention of the people that, yes, we are still losing a lot of people, a lot of lives. People are being killed in the eastern part of the Congo. Obviously, one of the reason is because of the natural resources that we have there, and everybody wants to lay their hands on it, and then they're using other countries as proxy to have access to that, and that is not good, something that must come to a halt and must stop. And then obviously the last thing he talked about was obviously the elections. We need to reassure everybody that elections are going to take place in the Democratic Republic of Congo as per calendar. So December this year, the elections are going to take place. And then he wanted to reassure everybody that we were on schedule, that we're running on time. The organization that is putting together these elections, CENI, has actually said that yes, they have, if you like, borrowed money from the banks in order just to finance every step of the way. And things are on track at the moment, but it still needs financial help if you like, finances to be released from the government in order for them to carry out everything as they have agreed to do so. But he said, nothing is going to stop the elections taking place. And based on that, I can tell you from what is happening in the country that there are a lot of people in the country are actually thinking that, yes, he's done a lot of good, that, there is that likelihood that people will give him a second mandate. People want him to carry on leading the country the way that he is doing. So everybody can see that there is concerted efforts that is being made by the president, and that he's doing all that he can within his power in order to secure the borders, in order to bring the integrity of our territories, and obviously be able to kick out all those militia groups, and all those disarm all those militia groups, and then also remove foreign elements within our soil. And the way it is going, it seems like he's actually achieving his target, because the armies are being trained and they're being recruited, trained up to a high level, high standard, something which you haven't had in the country for a long time. So by the look of it, it seems like, everything is moving according to plan. Saying that, yes, he still laments. He still talks about what is happening in the eastern part of the Congo. The killing of innocent people is not something that is welcome. It's not something that he wants to see happening in this country. Now, I don't know where you are, how you perceive things, but just know this, that what is happening in the Democratic of Congo, there are signs, very positive sign, just to say that, things are moving in the right direction. Now, we don't know what would happen after December 2023, but the likelihood that the man Felix Tshisekedi will remain in power is very likely that he will carry on his, if you like, next mandate. But yet, we just want everybody to know that this country of ours, the Democratic Republic of Congo, needs all of you in the diaspora, wherever you may be. Just share your ideas, just to comment on what you think. You want to come into your country, you want to invest, you want to do certain things. Yes, this is the time to do it. This is your country. No matter where you are around the world, understand that this is the right moment for you to come back home and then invest and then do things that will profit you in the next 5 years to come. Yes, there is a rule of law, even though it's taking time for it basically to take ground and to really be the place where we want it to be. But believe you me, things are happening and it's all moving in the right directions, and they are good signs. So look out for our many videos that we're putting out, and comments, and share this link with other people, and do subscribe if you haven't done so. With that, I just want to say goodbye for now. Take care. Bye-bye now.